You are not going to believe how beautiful and super easy these Pottery Barn Christmas dupes turned out. Let's get to it. Here is the first inspiration from Pottery Barn. This little gift box with lights inside. It came actually in sets of 3, but we're just going to make one, the larger one. I'm going to start with these flat bamboo dowels that I get on Amazon. I do have them on my Amazon store. If you want to check them out, I do have my store linked down below in the description box. I'm going to take 6 of them and I'm going to cut them in half. And then I am going to start attaching them to make a square and simply just using hot glue. I'm going to do 2 squares and then I'm going to have 4 extra pieces that we are going to use to hot glue it and then turn everything into a box. Now that we have the box built, I'm going to take some of this burlap ribbon from burlapfabric.com and I'm going to hot glue it and just wrap it around. Basically, it's going to be about 2 strips because it's the size of or the width of the ribbon that I had. But if you're going to recreate something like this and you have ribbon that it's a little thinner, don't worry, you just have to wrap it around instead of twice, just 3 times or however many times it takes. But in my case, the ribbon was about half the size of the box, so it turned out where I only had to wrap it twice. So as you can see, I'm going to speed it up a little bit here and I'm just going to hot glue it all around, and then when I have the sides wrapped, then I am going to wrap the 2 sides that are left over. I do want to remind you that I am on Instagram. If you have an Instagram account, I'd love to connect with you there. I post several times a day, every single day, all the time, just little behind the scenes looks and just different things that I don't necessarily post here on my YouTube channel. So I'd love to connect with you there if you have an account. I do have my page linked down below in the description box. I'm now going to take this X-Acto knife and I'm just going to make a little slit here on one corner. I'm going to do it on the side that is the least favorite. You know, the one that doesn't look as neat. Then I'm going to take these little fairy lights that I do get on Amazon, and I do have them on my Amazon store as well. So check it out if you are interested. They come 12 in a pack and it's really inexpensive. I'm just going to thread them right through that little slit. And because they're wired, they actually don't fall to the ground. They just stay kind of lifted up, and I like that. It's just pretty authentic to the inspiration piece. Now I'm going to take some of this burlap, or not burlap, some of this buffalo check red and black ribbon. There we go. From Dollar Tree, and I'm going to wrap it and make a knot on top. Then I'm going to take another piece and I'm just going to crisscross it on the other side. Just loop it on the bottom and then make a simple knot on the top. And that way everything looks like it's one ribbon. Now I didn't have a ribbon long enough, but if you have one piece that's long enough, you can just wrap it all 4 sides and make a bow on top. I'm just going to make a very simple bow, fluff the little loops, and then some extra ends I'm just going to loop to the inside, making it seem like I have multiple loops, if that makes sense. And then that's it. I am going to trim the excess little ends that I have. And I'm going to remind you what the original inspiration piece looked like. And this is what mine looks like. I am loving this box. I am going to place it this year in my Christmas decorations. I love that it lights up. I like the simplicity of it, but yet it makes like a little statement. Now, the original piece had 3 pieces. I just made one, so I may just make a couple more because I really like the way it turned out. The second piece is this beautiful teardrop kind of little wreath looking piece there from Pottery Barn. And I am going to start with this Dollar Tree Christmas tree. You've seen them before a million times, I'm sure. I'm just going to fluff it up here and keep it flat. So instead of fluffing it in a 3D form, I'm just going to fluff it, but keep it flat. Again, like the original piece, it has that teardrop kind of form. So once I have the bristles and the branches where I want them, I am going to take some of these evergreen picks that I do get on Amazon. These are actually leftover from my stash last year from Christmas and winter decor. So I'm going to take a couple of the larger ones and a few of the smaller ones. I'm going to cut off the excess pick there or stem, and I'm just going to hot glue them, just threading them right in between the branches of the Dollar Tree Christmas tree. I also want to remind you that I do have memberships now available on my channel. If you're interested in becoming a member, I do have the link down below. You get tons more of perks and just special things that not all subscribers have. Check it out. I do have it down in the description box. Once I had the picks and branches where I wanted them, I'm going to take a couple of these pine cones from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to hot glue 2 of them, one towards the top and the other one on the side, but a little bit lower, just like the original had 2 pine cones. We're going to keep it as close as possible to the original. Then I'm going to take some of these little red berries from different picks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to start hot gluing them right around the pine cones. And again, just like the original piece, we're going to keep them towards the top because that's where they were on that piece. And then I did decide to add a couple extra little evergreen picks towards the bottom just to fill up that bottom part. I felt like that long piece at the bottom was kind of lonely back there. So I added a couple pieces. This little frosted pick is from Dollar General and they're kind of long, but I am going to thread it right in between all the branches towards the left side of the arrangement. And then a little piece off of it, I just kind of broke off and I'm going to hot glue it on the other side. Now for the stem, the original piece had kind of like sticks. I don't have the sticks because this is a little Christmas tree from Dollar Tree. So we're just going to wrap it with some jute twine here all around, all the way to the end and secure it with hot glue. The original inspiration piece from Pottery Barn did have like a little tiny bow or something or other wrapped around the stem. So I am going to use some of this thinner jute twine, make a multiple loop bow, very simple, tie it around the stem and then cut off the excess. I did string and kind of push through some of those fairy lights from earlier, a different kind, and just to add a little bit of light like the original piece here had. And then here's my piece. I gotta say, this one turned out so beautiful. Can you believe this is a Christmas tree from Dollar Tree, a few picks from Amazon that I already had on hand, and some extra little embellishments from the Dollar Tree. I love it. For the next one, these inspiration plates are beautiful. I love the texture that it had and the style of them. So I'm going to take some of this Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the chiffon and some regular latex brown paint just to kind of get a shade of a beige that's a little closer to the original inspiration from Pottery Barn. These 4 little plates are from Dollar Tree. You can find them in the party section. And I'm just going to give each of them 2 coats of this paint. Original pieces had like little tiny drops of paint, so I'm just going to spritz it here using brown paint and my stenciling brush here. And again, I'm just going to just pull on the bristles and let it come out the way it comes out. No right or wrong way with this. I did also add a little bit of black paint just for a little bit of contrast. Using my Cricut, I cut off different reindeer heads and reindeer shapes, and I'm just going to place them on the top of each plate, just like the original piece had. And I did all the same thing on all 4 plates. And we're just about done with these, and I think these turned out so beautiful. They look very close to the original like you see here, and there is mine. Stunning. I love these plates. Now, I am going to spray them with a clear top coat. That way they're nice and durable, and we can actually put maybe little candies or nuts on these plates, and I think it would be perfect. The next inspiration piece from Pottery Barn are these 4 beautiful ornaments. They're very cozy and perfect for Christmas. So we are going to take 3 of these Dollar Tree balls. They're like plastic baseballs. Now I don't have a 4th one, so I'm only going to do 3 ornaments here. I'm going to take some of this jute twine and I'm going to loop it and tie it on the end. Then I'm going to make the holes that already was on each ball just a little bigger so I can thread the knot right through it. And then I'm going to add some hot glue to make sure that that's not going to come off anytime soon. And I'm going to do the same thing on all the other 2.
It was the night before Christmas.
I'm going to take this tree skirt that I actually purchased last year at Dollar General. I purchased it because I wanted to make several DIYs off of it, and I never ended up using it. So I'm gonna tear apart the fabric. So I'm going to take some of this sweater style fabric, and I'm going to cut a piece off of it. Then I am going to cut a hole, or just poke a hole right in the center of the fabric, and I'm going to thread the jute twine little hanging piece from the first ornament. And now I'm going to start hot gluing and cutting as needed. The key to this is to, as you are cutting and folding, making it look as neat as possible. So obviously it's going to have some folds because that's just the nature of it. We're working with a ball, which is round, but the key is to make sure as you are folding and hot gluing that you are keeping it neat as possible.
When the bell on the door jingled once more, and then
I'm going to slow it down here just for a quick second just to show you how I finished the ornament. I'm going to hot glue again like I've been doing, hot gluing and cutting as needed. But this last piece that you see here, it's longer. I'm actually just going to fold it over everything else that is on the bottom of the ornament, kind of to cover up all the pieces that ended up there at the bottom. So it looks kind of messy. So keeping that last piece a little longer and then folding it over it, it just smoothed it out and just made it look a lot more finished and just prettier. And again, we're just going to hot glue it in place until it's done.
But somehow I knew, and maybe so did you.
For the next ornament, we're going to take some yarn here that I already had on hand, gosh, from years ago. Maybe, I think the white one I got last year, but the red one I've had. I'm going to start with just a dot of glue there on the top of the ornament, and I'm just going to start placing these. Now, the key is to this is I wanted to have white yarn and then red, white and red all around the ball, the ornament. But it became a little hard. I'm not going to lie. This one took me a little long because I was dealing with the jute string that was on top getting in the way. I was dealing with 2 different size yarn, which I hoped I would have like the same thickness yarn, but that didn't work out. But I'm going to give you a little close-up look here on how I actually ended up doing. So I ended up putting hot glue, then I ended up putting the thicker yarn right there. And now the glue was kind of poking through in between, and then I took the smaller red and placed it right there on top. That way, it still had a little bit of glue to hold that yarn. And yarn doesn't take much to stick. It's light, it's fluffy, and hot glue really sticks to it. So a little bit of hot glue goes a long way. And I did that all around until it reached the bottom.
Everything would change from now on. Yes, from this Christmas on, this Christmas on. From this Christmas.
And we're towards the bottom here, and I'm just going to again slow it down just to kind of see how it finished it off. So basically, same process we were doing earlier, except it's just a little tighter. So I'm just going to end up having to kind of like round it out a little bit more. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see what I'm doing. It's easier to see than to explain.
It's gonna be you and me decorating the tree from this Christmas on.
And we're just about done with this one. Now for the third ornament, watch, this was like a 3 DIY in one, wasn't it? Same similar style as the other one, except this one's going to be a little crazier, a little more wild. I'm going to place some hot glue there on the top just to secure both yarn. And then I'm just going to start wrapping it around in all different directions, literally. Now, the key to this one is making sure that you're pulling on those yarns so that they are nice and snug and tight and they're not going to come off. And I'm going to do it in every direction so that we have a huge pattern in every direction. And then again, here in a little bit, I'm going to slow it down so you kind of see what I'm doing. Anywhere I see where you can see the ball, the plastic ball, I just keep wrapping until I place yarn. So you're going to see it here again. I'm going to show you a little spot where you see a lot of the plastic ball, and then see right there, I just keep wrapping it around snug. So you can't really tell, but I'm actually pulling on the yarn quite a bit, and then making sure I cover all the areas that you can see the plastic ball.
We forgot what you came for, and in the coffee shop just
Once I was satisfied with not seeing any other plastic ball, then I just cut off the yarn, put a little bit of hot glue, and like I said, a little bit goes a long way when you're working with yarn, and that's it. Let me remind you what the original piece looked like from Pottery Barn, and here's what mine looked like. I am extremely satisfied with these ornaments, and let me tell you, I am going to use them on my Christmas tree this year. I am probably going to make 3 more, so 1 more of each, because I really love them and I think it will look really good on my tree. But this is it for today. Let me know which one is your favorite. Let me know, did I nail it? Did I fail it? Which one you think, no, it didn't look right? I don't mind. Just let me know in the comments. If you're visiting for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy the video and I hope you consider joining our YouTube family. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I am going to have a playlist here with tons more of Christmas inspiration for you. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.